Okay, really want to do a review here. Try to make a video to help with the test tomorrow. So here, I know a lot of students have questions on independent. It says, are gender and agreement on the topic independent? So first, I'm going to answer a couple of these questions. It says, what percent of those that agree are female? Okay, so to do that, of those that agree, it's the probability of uh, being female, knowing they agree. Now, on the test, make sure that you give me some sort of context. I'm not expecting that you use a probability statement like this. We haven't actually been in probability, but the bottom number for this, of course, needs to be those that agree. So it needs to be coming out of the 43. And why? Because it says what percent of those that agree. So you have to pay attention to that preposition there. That gives us the bottom number. And then what percent of those are female? So we take this and we put in for that the number that are female out of there. And that's 31 out of 43. We'll go with the calculator quick. And it gives us 72%. So 72% of those that agree happen to be female. What percent of all students agree? Well, all students agreeing is a little bit different story. We have 43 out of 84. Now, notice more females were surveyed, so we want to be aware of that. But doing these calculations, you need to be able to do those on the test tomorrow. So the percent that agree, this would be a way to answer that question. Make sure on the test you give that is, and then I would like to see work. We have 43 out of 84 students that are agreeing. And that is 51% agree. So notice that's a lot different. Now that already tells me that it's not independent, but as we're studying this, are gender and agreement on the topic independent? You have to decide, am I going to use the row variable? Am I going to use agree and disagree and compare those percentages? Or am I going to compare male and female? Well, agreement isn't going to change whether you fall into the category of male or female. But whether you're male or female could change agreement. So what you first have to do is decide, if I'm going to decide on independence, I want to look and I want to say, hey, let's compare the males to the females. So the probability a male agrees, males that agree, that percent is 12 out of 38. And we're going to compare that to the females that agree. And the females that agree, we have 31 out of 46. Okay, if they are independent, they're the same. If they're dependent, then they get different percentages. Independence would indicate, hey, whether you're male or female, that's not going to change agreement on whatever this topic is. I don't have a specific topic, but the males that agree, 12 out of 38 is 31%, and the females that agree is 67%. So 31% of males agree, 67%. It's almost a third one way and then 2/3 the other way. So no, they are not independent because the probabilities differ. Now, if you did that, this is supposed to be not equal to, can't get my slash, that's supposed to be slashing through there, 67%. So that's one example. Now, the other example you have on your review, just to quickly do number 27, it says find the conditional distribution of plans for the white students. So first thing we want to do in this one, we want to find what's the total. So we're going to take the 198, we're going to look at the white students, and we're going to add those up and get this total. Okay, so we total those up. I think that's right, 268. Sorry, somebody came in my room. That's 234, 238, 248, 258, 268 is correct. Sorry, I got distracted. And we got to divide each of these by 268. There's 268 white students that were surveyed. And the minority students, there's, I believe, 57, it looks like, if I do that. Okay, so what are the conditional distributions here? For the white students, we have, I'm going to take the 198 divided by 268. Now, I wouldn't need all these calculations. In this case, show calculations on the test. When it comes to having a lot of them, here the percentages would suffice. But if you're in doubt of what to do, show all the calculations. So 74% of white students, or 75, we'll round it up, go to four-year college. Okay, then I want to do each of these. So I want to take the 36 out of the 268, find that percent for the 2-year, and that ends up being 36 out of 268 is 13%. Okay, so on and so forth. I want to do it for military, employment, other. That's how you get that first question. Find the conditional distributions of percentage of plans for the minority students. Okay, so this is the same thing. We're going to take the 44 out of the 57 and find that percentage. What percentage of the minority students? 77% are going to a four-year college. Now, notice that's pretty similar. And I know I didn't do all of them. I'm just, for the sake of time, not going to do every single one. You can finish those on your own. I'm just trying to give you the idea. 6 out of 57 is 0.105 for the next one. And 11% going to 2-year, and then continue on with those. Create a graph comparing the two. Well, one way that you could do it, the answer key that I have on online is going to be different than this one. You could go out of 100% and make 1 bar for the white students, 1 bar for the minority students. Okay, and I started here with the four-year college. Actually, I'm going to go and I'm going to do the other for the white students here. Other plans were 16 out of 268. So that ends up being like 5%. Now, I might want a little more detail on here, but 5%, let's just say it's this amount. And I'm going to make a little key here, and this is slash sideways, and that's going to be the other. I'd want to do the same thing for the minority students, so I'd want to take 3 out of 57 and get that same amount. And then I want to build on that. This one was 5 or 6%. Employment was 14 out of 268. And that ends up being another 5%. So when I stack this, I'm going to get up to, and I'm way off on my graph. I apologize. I should have this a little bit more to scale. This is 10%. So maybe I leave that one as just plain open and white. And I'm going to keep stacking these up. Hopefully I'm making sense. But I'm going to make these all comparable. And if I were to say, are they independent? That question isn't on here. But truthfully, if you look at all the percentages, when you compare them all, they're really pretty close, 75 to 77, 13 to 105. And as you go through, all the percentages end up being pretty close. So I would say in this one, they're fairly independent. But you should end up with a graph that kind of looks like this, where it's got 5 different chunks, 5 different labels, and that would be the easiest way to make this graph. But again, going to a 4-year college we're not going to look at the row variable, because going to the 4-year college isn't going to affect whether somebody is white or minority, but whether you're white or minority might affect what you choose. But then when we talk about this in terms of independence, it appears they're independent, so it really didn't affect that decision. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll post this quickly.